Hello, brothers and sisters of light and dark. Welcome to my page. My page is about common sense. I try to keep it down under the nitty gritty, under 10 minutes. And if it goes over 10 minutes, it's something very, very important. And not important to liberals, libertards, people who believe in God, people like to smoke, people like to drink, people like ayahuasca, people like who are sensitive, people who are stick in the muds. It's just not important to you. These videos are not important to you because you don't have enough common sense and raison d'etre from your own ID in order to understand what I'm saying is common sense. This is why I say it. Now, if you want to debate me and you want to have a reasonable, researchable debate, that's fine. But most people don't even ask questions if they know I'm right? Okay. I'm older, I'm old school, and I do things the old way, okay? And I still consider the old way the best way, as a matter of fact, through a high level of discipline and focus. Because I'm an alpha. I'm like the only realest alpha on the internet. But people be like, oh, you can't say yourself an alpha. Yes, I can. Because these days, most people haven't been raised by alpha fathers. Period. But now, let's get on with the video for today. If you have any comments, questions, insults, or roast, you put it down below. This video is going to be pertaining to the purposes of a woman and a man in a relationship. Or in any relationship, as a matter of fact. All right? It is very important to know thyself very well before you get into any relationship. 9 times out of 10, the men are going to be most likely more virgins than the women are between the ages of 13 and 16. And 9 times out of 10, most people are raised by single mothers, so they have no idea by 80 to 90% what to say, do, how to stay focused in any relationships. You agree? Okay. Now, from what I can ascertain, when I was younger, I always saw my mom as the strong head in the family. My father always worked, so he's the one who was the breadwinner in the house. Okay? They both was pretty ignorant in their own level of degree because I did my own due diligent research to understand what psychology is and how my mother and father are it's supposed to treat me, but they didn't know how to treat me. They didn't know that. But I knew how parents are supposed to act towards their children. At a very, very young age, because I was very interested in lots of things that other children are not, because I was like a geek or a nerd, which I was always called all the time, okay? But I realized that back in the 50s and the 60s, there was a time when I remember where white people was talking a lot more than black people, okay? Let's keep it simple and real. And there was a purpose for a woman in the house, okay? And her purpose was basically mainly to be a Christian woman. Okay, a Christian woman follows the code of religion itself, which most people don't really follow long-term wise. They don't really follow it, and they're hypocrites. Most people are hypocrites when it comes to religion. When I say religion, I'm talking about the Christian values in the Bible. Okay, and then I always wondered why it says in the Bible a woman should never be upon the pulpit teaching anybody. It says it belittles women. It tells you clear as cut as day that women and men are not equals in the Bible. It actually gives great instructions on what women should do for a man of holy faith or Christian faith, which I thought was a great idea, right? That is like the first thing, the woman to be subservient to her husband of God, or the Christian face value, right? And I thought it would be so easy. But no, I've learned that from the grapevine, from people who are racist, and even a lot more white men who educated me. They told me the real reason why we have the feminist movement is because of a small group of women and a bunch of capitalists, liberal white men and liberal white women who came together, Gloria Steinem, if you want to look that up, you can, and created a project, which is called Chaos Project or Project Chaos. You can either switch it you want. You can look it up yourself. You'll notice that the word domestic is not highlighted. So if you see domestic in red, that means there was a secret reason why. Project Chaos, which occurred back in, I think it was it started in the 40s, late 40s. And it went on all the way up near to the end of the golden age of the 60s, so the late 60s. And then everything broke free after the 60s. After the 60s, that love and that free sex and drugs broke free because that's what their goal was. The government wanted to implement this Project Chaos as a way of going into people's homes secretively to see if there's any terrorist organizations, but that wasn't really the case during those days. It was really to separate man and woman to getting along with one another. But you can read it yourself on Wikipedia if you want. Okay, all right. So, since these small handful of women, because the majority of women said, no, this is not true. Okay, I remember there was many papers and articles where it was a bunch of women saying, we are happy where we're at. We are happy to be Christians and serving our husbands. And I remember those papers that some of these crackers told me. I'm saying crackers, snowman, whatever, because they're white, okay? They're the hunky-tunk man. They told me this. And there's papers to prove it. There was like 70% of the women who said, no, we don't want that. We don't want the separation. But it seemed to me that the small handful had enough power and enough capital, as I already told you before, which is backed by the government. This also happened previously with Abraham Lincoln, but that's another story when it comes to the modern day slave. All right? So what happens, these small group of women complained. And they had enough capital to back up for the feminist movement, which occurred in the 60s, I think it was, the feminist movement. And they freed themselves and broke free. And a lot of white women, okay, basically were really not very happy. The origins of feminist movement really occurred from the Negro house women, okay? That's what I was told as well, because there was lots of women in the house sometimes doing the servitude of the white man back in those days. And those black women would not see happily upon the white woman as she was getting her ass whipped sometimes. So they would encourage the handful of women who were getting their ass whipped to push forward. So instead, the black woman who was a house servant in the house didn't have enough power to do anything influential in the media. But it got along to a woman named Gloria Steinem who created the movement. She was also working with a black woman, okay, you see. And if you check that out, you'll probably find that answer too as well. And they were backed by the CIA, the government. And I was like, holy shit. So now we have the position of a woman to have three choices in her life. She can either be a Christian, which most women are not Christians. Okay. She can either be halfway, work part-time and take care of the children. Or she could just basically give up on the man and basically feed off the matriarch. And that's exactly the plan of the government, to have women, mostly predominantly white women, to take advantage of the system and the welfare system. It will always be that way in the United States. I can't stand guys who actually talk about the welfare system, how black women are doing this more than white women, which is impossible to comprehend. But you know how much they love black women to talk about them. But you can use it as dark psychology all you want. The black woman is only 13% of the population, okay? All right? So you already know who these individuals are that say black women are doing more than this, than that to white women. White women do far more abortions than black sisters, hands down, but it's not going to be televised. You know who controls the media. So these three things is either what women want to be or not. Christian, to follow the values of the Christian faith, to know that they're not equal to a man of God. They know this. To be subservient. Even polygyny is allowed in the Bible. If you don't know this or not, you better open your eyes. It never says anything about polygyny being illegal. But then there's number two. A woman can work if she gets bored in the house. She want to do with it. She want to bring a little extra money in. I don't see nothing wrong with that, okay? She want to work a little bit and take care of the kids. But she might burn herself out. Because the man is usually the breadwinner in the house. You understand? But then there's the third way. The third way is where the chaos comes into play. Okay, and no matter how you look at it, there are women out there who get tired of their husbands. And during those days, a lot of white men were actually good to their wives. As a matter of fact, the number was 70%. It was just the 30% of women who said they were complaining bitches and shit, and they started talking too much. But the rest of 70% was like, oh, we're not having this shit. This is not a Christian value. I remember Little House on the Prairie when I was watching TV growing up in the 80s, and I was like wondering, this is how the white man was and the Christian values. The women were subservient, though there was some situations where I hear stories where guys was doing polygyny, which was happening in Utah. That's another subject, okay? But of course, the government always steps its foot in there to make sure you don't have a monopoly over anything, okay? But that's all I really got to say about that. The man's goal is basically back in those days, let me tell you something to what the white man told me. They told me all they needed was a car to get women. It was so simple. If you just can earn yourself to get a car, you can always get a girlfriend. It was very easy for anybody who can achieve such a goal. But imagine how they have to attain much more now, not just a car now. And I feel bad for most guys after the 60s, after the mid 50s to into the 60s. I feel bad because they became the victims during those times. Well, I'm old. I'm old. I'm 47 this year. Okay. All right. And so I would try to tell women, I said, your goal is not to be combative with a man. Your goal is to be a Christian, correct? Do you read it? Do you understand it? It tells you not to wear these prettied up horror female images and a pig with a ring in the nose. It tells you all these things of how you should and should be, but you don't follow it. Okay? So we got a lot of hypocritical women out there saying they're Christian and they believe in God, which is a lie. They don't believe in God. I said, well, why would you say you believe in God when you're doing sinful things? Such hypocrisy. There's a lot more good men out there. Yes, I know who they are. And they're virgins. They're average looking guys working basic jobs. Sometimes they may live with their mother. And it's a sad, sad thing. Never have lost their virginity. And they're all on YouTube and the Twitch and everywhere else. I can spot a virgin boy a mile away. But you can't do that with women. You can't. Okay? But if you're a woman watching me in my videos, okay, please understand this is not scripted. I just have that knowledge here, okay? And you need an education on how to be feminine instead of a feminist, an evil feminist. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to be a feminist in a good way. Like, okay, I want to work the same place in the same man. But you got to understand, if you start off with a rate of $7 an hour, right? Okay, this is the problem with a lot of people who talk about unequal pay and all that stuff. And they psychoanalyze your work. And they believe you should only get 25%. Let them do that shit. You started off with $7 an hour and only gave you a 25-cent raise, right? But the next man they hire, okay, which is mainly the white man, they hired him at a $9 rate. You have no idea what they're doing. You don't have no idea what they're planning. You should stay out of that. Okay, just stay out of when I used to work as a security guard, I was always told not to talk about each other's pay because sometimes the fluctual rates, inflation and deflation occurs in society. So that's why you got to pay everybody differently. But you don't know that because you never talked to the boss. You never asked them. Okay, so you make improper assumptions. So stop talking about different pay. So if somebody actually tells you I get paid this much versus you for doing the same job, that's inflation. That's deflation. You don't know what the reason is for. Maybe they need them temporary. You don't know. But people make up stories. But now since you understand the purposes of a relationship, how it should be, if you are a boyfriend and a girlfriend and you are headstrong, you can't be a Christian. You just can't be a Christian because your values are gone. You haven't been trained properly. Do you understand that if you're a female, you have to be passive? Now, there are women out there who would say men are controlling creatures, but that's their nature to control. So I don't see the logic on that's a good man if he controls your ass, what you should be doing. If a man is insecure, that's also a good thing as well. There's something you're doing wrong to make him feel insecure. So it's really going to come down to the woman who chooses the man, okay? But if you want to say I'm wrong, please have a comment or question down below. I'm also on Rumble, guys. I do not put my content too much on the YouTube too much because of, biased reasons, because they'll make up their own little reasons saying I'm a doctor and they don't know my background. Because I'm pretty sure you don't really need to show them documented proof that you're a doctor. If I'm saying I'm a doctor, right? How would they know if I'm a doctor, okay? Will they tell me some shit? That's what I'm confused about. They can be very biased on YouTube. This is why I put it on Rumble, okay? This is why I say follow my Rumble as well. And I know my Rumble won't get pulled down, so I ain't worried about this shit. I know my Getter won't get pulled down, my MeWe won't get pulled down, my Signal won't get pulled down, okay? I gotta join those other groups, which they are not as sensitive, because what's gonna come... Facebook doesn't fuck with my YouTube videos. They don't. Okay, and that's good. Okay, my Facebook doesn't fuck with my Facebook videos. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. But now you understand the purpose of a man and woman, okay? There's a lot of women who would disagree with me. They don't believe in polygyny. They don't believe in Christianity. They don't believe in virginity. And that's a sad, sad thing. Very sad thing. And I guess I keep saying before, most people don't admire alphas. Alphas are a rare dime a dozen, 5 to 10% of the population, who are strict and very disciplined in what their needs are and standards. Very high standards an alpha has. Lots of people don't know the difference between a beta alpha male and an alpha male. They just don't. They're in their feelings. They're in their emotions. Basic betas pay for everything. They pay for the porn. They watch the porn. They don't get no pussy. They don't get nothing. They pay for it. They have the hardest time in society, and they're about 80% of the population. Everywhere I go, no matter if I go to another country or not, I can easily spot a virgin a mile away for males. Then a beta alpha male is about 25% of the population. High looks, attraction, okay, lots of money. I keep saying this. Beta alphas, they need money in order to get pussy. Either they're doing it through their image, and most likely not through their charm, because it's not enough these days. Now, image is not always everything. But a lot of some women like taller men, and they got a lot of money. And they're never going to be faithful to them. They're going to use them, because women are the bigger pimps. Okay? Lots of beta alpha males are simps. They will try to flaunt their money and their cash and talk about how they look and all that other bullshit. And that's where it stops at. It stops right there. But the alpha is not talked about. The real alpha males are not talked about like myself. They're not. And back in those days, these guys were strict. Sometimes they will beat their women because they were out of place. But I'm telling you, most people don't understand the definite. When they see the image of a person, they automatically think that's an alpha. That is not an alpha, dog. Alphas have too high of a standards to be put in the same box in the brackets as anybody else. Okay, they don't do that. Okay. But other than that, that's all I really got to say about that. I hope you learned something here. What else is there to say about the roles of a woman and a man in a relationship? What else is there to say? The man is the controller and the woman is the submissive, okay, or the subservient, the servant. She serves in the right way because she's a person who's supposed to be humbling herself to make sure the family's happy, to make sure his balls is happy as well. Because a man is very low maintenance, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That's a fact. Most women, when they begot bastard children, these 80 to 90% of these bastard children are mostly going to be criminals and destroy society over time, okay? Because they don't know how to hold their love. They don't know how to hold themselves. They don't have any discipline. They're not interested in the man's ergo proxy, okay? Because I love the anime, okay? That raison d'etre. You seen Ergo Proxy? That was a very dark anime, which talked about raison d'etre a lot. Very dark. I love dark anime. But anyway, since you understand my point here, I'm going to put this on my Rumble, on my YouTube. Y'all check it out, okay? You take it easy, and I love you all, but I hate the many of you. And guess what? We already discussed what we needed to be talked about. It's 18 minutes now. Because I'm not your average man. I'm not your Peter Pan. Have a nice motherfucking day, okay? Peace. Oh, and tonight, I'm still gaming, guys. The game I'm going to be playing, okay, it's the Shadow of War, Middle-earth. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm on Twitch. Just check out my credentials down below. Ain't nobody like me on the internet. They don't want to show my face because I'll teach them some shit, and they say, we can't do that because we're weak men. We're living in a time where a lot of millennial boys are being born. Beta males and beta alpha males don't talk that much on the YouTube. I don't see too many beta alpha males. Okay, but there's a lot of beta males. Okay, and other than that, that's all I'm really gonna say, guys. And y'all have a good day. If you have any comments, questions, insults, or roast, especially put it down below. I'm usually on between Monday and Thursday nights between 11:59 p.m. to 3 a.m. This game might be good, so I might be playing 4 hours at a time. The more better a game is, the funner it is to me, the longer I play it. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.